Hello, there's a lot of noise out there and sometimes it's really difficult to listen and be heard above the clamour, above all the chaos. I'm Devi Sankri Govender and I'll be your host as we celebrate Women's Month with real stories of women who inspire us by rising above the noise. And as you can see, we have a live studio audience with us. So thanks very much to all of you for being here. And you can give yourself a warm round of applause. We also have the blue table today, and it's about an inspiring and informative conversation that will be happening right here at this blue table. We'll hear from previous winners of Standard Bank's Top Women Awards, and we'll hear from women both within and outside the bank. And we'll find out what it takes to rise above the noise. Now, the theme of the Standard Bank Top Women campaign is Rise Above the Noise. And I'm joined now by a group of women who have some thoughts on how we can achieve that in our lives and in our work. Let me introduce you to the panel. Thandeka Mngomezulu is founder and CEO of Total Surf Facilities Management, a company which she started in 2013 and which now employs 560 people from underprivileged communities. Thandeka was the winner of the 2021 Standard Bank Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Welcome. Janine Zaka is the head of enterprise and direct banking propositions at Standard Bank South Africa. She's passionate about mentorship and loves finding solutions to solve customer problems, particularly for small business owners. Khoitsemang Mokhale is a seasoned finance professional who joined Standard Bank's business banking coverage team as finance head in 2021. She's a wife, a mum of two, who enjoys mentoring female leaders. Welcome to you all, and thanks so much for joining us. Now, in my introduction, we were talking about rising above the noise and how we need to do this in our lives, in our workplace. But those two things are not necessarily two separate worlds. Yes. We know that, right? What are your thoughts on work-life balance and being our authentic selves wherever we are, bearing in mind that you were on your own running and beginning and starting this business in difficult environments over the last couple of years?
Thank you for the question, Devi. Work-life balance has become something that is part of our lives. We know that with COVID, health became the new currency. It's the new wealth. And family became what our life's most about. So work-life integration is something that needs to be part of your life. It's not a luxury. It's something that you need as a person to be sane, to be able to present yourself in the different facets of your life. If you're a mother, you need to be present. If you are an entrepreneur, you need to be present, a leader, an expert, and everyone in every facet of your life. You need to be fully present for it because it needs you as much. So.
Yes, but that's a killer, guys. You know, it's tough work.
Yeah.
And it's always demanding. And I want to also bring in people who are so-called single, because there's this thing in the workplace when you're not married and you don't have children or you don't have a partner, they say, oh, it's easy for you. But often it's adult children, those adult children who are seen as not having the connections, who then have to take care of of parents, grandparents, because that entire responsibility gets shifted to them. Am I right?
Yeah, but it's all about creating a boundary.
Yeah, we're bad at that, guys. Now, we are bad.
If you don't have kids, at times you get expected to work. You feel like you have to work overtime and you need to be present, but you need to create that boundary to fill every portion of your life.
Yeah. Khoitsemang, if I can come to you here, younger people who are just starting out in the industry, there's no question about it, in any industry, are going to take their cues from those of us who came before them, their senior colleagues. But what examples have you seen of women who actually get it right? Not because sometimes we look like we're getting it right, but we're crying in the bathroom.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. I think, just as young people come in and they observe some of the senior leaders, how they communicate, how they hold themselves up, how they present, it's all great to look, and sort of have your own assumption that this person has it together. But I think where the integration happens, or that step change, is where you actually interact with those ladies and actually have a conversation, seeking mentorship and coaching. You'll actually then start to unpack some of the challenges that they're facing and develop some sort of understanding in order to advance your own career. So I think really the integration needs to happen at that point of interacting with those guys and not necessarily sort of making an assumption that they have it all together, they show up at work, you know, they're perfect, face beat on, high heels on, whereas in the background, the building's burning. So really just, you know, reaching out and having that moment and that conversation is really key.
Janine, if I can come to you now. We know that not all mentors are officially appointed. Some don't even know that they are seen as mentors. But what does this tell us about how every single one of us can inspire those around us? And we touched on it earlier with younger members in the company or anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to break it out into two parts. I think the one is inspiration and the other is mentorship. And there's a few other aspects that have been spoken about already as well. So the sponsorship, the other roles that we can play in this journey of leadership and inspiration. But to just touch on inspiration for a second, I think it's separate to being an unknown mentor. The best mentorship relationships I have seen has been where there's been a specific goal or objective tied to it, and then somebody identified that can actually meet that goal or objective, whether it be because they have been inspirational, so there's something that you've seen them doing, or whether it is because they are really good at that something, you would then approach them to be a mentor. But it is different to inspiration, and that inspiration to me comes with a certain amount of responsibility that we do carry. Being in a position of being inspiration often means how you show up in the moments that are imperfect, the moments where you didn't get it right.
Yeah, but you see, we think now we're weak.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is exactly it, right?
That.
We believe that. So we believe we need to put on, we carry the superwoman armor pedestal that you get put on. And it is not about that. The best moments I have seen that I've drawn inspiration from is when leaders have gotten it wrong and apologized formally or said, hold on, we haven't gotten this right, let's look at it differently. Or have said, I actually don't know, can I invite for more input, more understanding from others who might know more, better, have innovative ideas. But that to me is that inspirational aspect that stands up.
Thandeka, we've been talking about rising above the noise. But what is the noise? What is necessary? What is unnecessary? And how do you now tell the two apart? I don't know. That's why I'm asking the questions.
It's very noisy out there. I mean, Lami's brought out the noise around situations. You know, I think we live in a very noisy world, and I don't think that there is a specific way in which we can avoid that. But it starts with self and knowing who you are and what you stand for, what your values, what your goals are. And once you know that and you can define that, I think it's easier to be able to move in the right direction, but it's also constant improvement. So rising above that is constantly checking on up on yourself and your values and what it is that you stand for.
Yeah. Hoitimang, what noise have you encountered in your career and how have you risen above it?
I think the biggest noise is self-doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Sure. I mean, and we spoke about it, you know, that whole imposter syndrome, that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't belong at this table, you know, just that negative self-talk that just keeps recycling in your mind. And how I've overcome it is really to seek feedback. I found that you get good feedback, which often counters how you were feeling from a negativity perspective, but you'll also get constructive feedback that gives you development areas that you can then work on. And I think by working on your development areas, you're then able to almost kind of silence that self-doubt, that feeling of unworthiness. The other point where I felt it in my career was when I felt like I'm not worthy and I'm not showing up as a mom because I'm too busy.
But that's a mother guilt thing that most of us
mommy
carry.
guilt is the worst. And I think there I've learned that for it not to impact my career, I needed to accept help. Accept the help around me, be it ask for the help, right? Employ people that can help you. Through that, you kind of alleviate, you know, the load, and you're then able to show up as your best self because you know that things are handled, then you're not feeling like, okay, no, I'm not really showing up.
So you're talking about self-doubt, and that's obviously doubt that comes from inside of you, but there's also doubt that's created by those who are around you. And I'm going to tell you a very quick story. I've been in journalism for nearly 30 years. That's 3 decades. And I don't go around telling everybody that because now they want to calculate your age. But when I first, right at the very beginning, I grew up in rural KwaZulu-Natal, and I watched the show called Carte Blanche, and I told my parents, and this was in the 80s when the country was burning, that I was going to be on that show. But my own community told me that I would never be able to make it onto mainstream television because I looked too Indian and I sounded too Indian. I clearly did not go to private school. And those kinds of stories would still exist in different ways now, perpetuate the mind. So while we are talking about self-doubt, guys, let's also talk about the doubt that's often projected onto you. And how do you now deal with that? Who's taking that one? How do we deal with that? It's easy to say, be strong, ignore them, know your self-worth.
I'll tell you something I'm doing practically, and it actually struck me while Hoyte was also just mentioning what she was talking about there, and it ties in with this whole imposter syndrome as well. I believe, and I have observed this, women in particular, when they are told well done or congratulations for something, downplay it immediately.
Oh, that's me.
Right, so we immediately go, oh no, it's the tea.
So helpful.
Oh no, it's this. Oh no, you know, whatever it might be. Oh, I'm just grateful I had a really good day that day and I woke up and my hair was fine. Whatever it might be, but we find every which reason apart from, damn girl, you did it, you made it, take the congratulations. So, and I say that, and I say it because I'm exactly that person. So what I've started to do as a practical element to this is, and that self-doubt, is to start saying, just practicing a thank you and a smile when somebody
And
does
keep
say
quiet.
And then I don't need to explain myself any further than that.
Exactly.
Right, so accept it. And I think that has done wonders in just, again, building up the, you know, people want to see you succeed and they want to be part of the journey. Let them, and let's go with it.
Share your rise above the noise examples. How were you able to do it?
Yeah, look, so my favorite probably story and example always is I was a teacher. So from teaching to banking over many years, it did not happen overnight at all. And I think you know, if you want to talk about self-doubt, let's talk about self-doubt, about what it takes to have a Bachelor of Education, but then make it into the world of banking. And I definitely had moments there where lots of self-doubt in terms of, you know, you sort of think, this is what I am, this is not who I'm going to be. Then I also felt as a failure as a teacher, so there was a big element of failure to deal with because I really hated it and it wasn't quite what I was cut out for. But then moving out of that and having to rise above that, I always say, you know, I took a paycheck cut of 600 Rand per month. I'll never forget it. Really hurt a lot because a teacher's salary is not that wonderful. Took that pay cut to go into communications, and then from there built my way into various positions, management consultant, and then into banking, where I've now found a career of choice. And I always laugh because if you told 15-year-old me that I was going to be in banking, I would have laughed at you, right, at that point in time. But just that's definitely something that I've had to consistently rise above the noise on and break the self-doubt on. That, yes, it can take people from all walks of life. It does not matter always what you studied, what you looked at. You can be something completely different when you put your mind to it.
And look, this is what I've learned. I'm in that plastic industry of television, and look, I'm chasing crooks down the road, right? So that also keeps me quite real. But when you start to see other women as competition, it shows.
Yeah.
You don't look good.
Yeah.
That was
internal
very
thing.
clever, and I just said that all by myself as well. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. As we continue to celebrate Women's Month and Women's Day, let's build on everything that we spoke about today, as each of us and all of us rise above the noise. From me, Devi Sankri Govender, and our backstage crew, it's thank you and goodbye.